So our next speaker is Wynn Richardson, speaking about Marvel-ous automation in a Windows environment. Wynn has been at the U for a long time. And let's see, and you're currently with the Center for Farm Financial Management in the Department of Applied Economics, which sounds very interesting. I'm relatively new at the U, so I find about all these wonderful nooks and crannies that the U has, interesting things that we cover.
That's right.
So let's welcome Wynn. Thank you for coming to talk.
Well, thank you. We still have fun in the background, right? We'll see if, there we go. All right, good morning. As I was introduced, my name is Wynn Richardson. I'm with the Center for Farm Financial Management over on the nice campus, right? I've been at the university since 1990, so it was still a land grant, whenever I was here. So the name of my talk today is a Marvel-ous automation in a Windows environment. Andy mentioned communication being very important as part of doing DevOps. So I'm going to communicate to Mike that, Mike, I'm going to give this talk because his name's up here too. Mike Newharth from CFANS OIT has been very helpful to us as we've sort of gone through this. I view this talk a little bit, Andy gave a great introduction as to what is DevOps, what could it be, amongst our different groups. I want to show you this is what we're doing, okay? Give you some examples. First of all, who are we? So our center, we're a little different. Andy was talking about the U here and the mission of the U working with students. Our center is still about education, but our focus is external, all right? Our mission is to improve the farm financial management and marketing abilities of agricultural producers and the professionals who work with them. In parentheses, it should say, students just take our parking spaces, all right? So we do have student workers that we deal with, but our focus is very much external. And the center has been around since December of 1984. We primarily do work, though, in software. It's education of people. And so it winds up being software products and projects, okay? We do occasionally get out and get in front of a group of producers. It's amazing how challenging it can be to try to talk to a group of producers at the American Legion whenever the beer tap is going on in the background, all right? So I'm glad we don't have that today. These are some of the projects and products that we have right now. FinPack is our flagship product. It has been around since the center started in the mid-'80s. That's our core flagship product. Here's where we start to. I'm going to refer back to some of Andy's slides. The old cars and the new cars. FinPack is a lot more like the old cars. All right. We are a Windows shop. Okay. Now I pause for a minute to see how many people get up and leave. We are a Windows shop. FinPack is used by three different types of audiences. First of all, farmers directly, farmers and ranchers directly. It's used by educators at other institutions, Iowa State, University of Nebraska, Texas A&M. These extension people use it with farmers and ranchers. The other third big group is bankers and lenders, because they're using our software to make credit decisions, because farmers have to go get money sometimes to borrow money to either buy land or make operating loan needs. So banks use that software. So that's a big part of what we do in the center, but it's not the only thing. There's 11 other projects up there. AgPlan, Integrated Farm Statements and Measures, FinBin, Ag Transitions, Fair Rent, Commodity Challenge, which is fantasy grain marketing. So if fantasy football isn't enough for you, you could do fantasy grain marketing. The center products, our center's not very big. I want to kind of get this across too. We're not we're not a behemoth. We've got basically 15 people on staff. We've got 6 ag economists. We've got 4 developers. There's a couple of graphic designers, support staff. So we don't have a giant department doing this. However, through our products, we reach about 80,000 farmers every year. And last year, our Google Analytics indicated we had 145,000 individual visitors to our various websites. So we have a big outreach. What that means, though, I'm the lead developer. Okay? What this means is there's pain points. This is what I want. If you don't think about anything else today from your DevOps, is what is your big pain points? All right? Because that's going to be an indicator for you of this is where you might start. Okay? Where the pain is the most. So, things for us, you mock my pain. Right? Anybody know the reference? No, it's still too early. So we had things like, what server is this running on? How does person X at University X test this? Because we do a lot of work with other land grants. We would work on teams on projects where someone at the University of or Colorado State we'd need for them to be testers for us on things. Okay, here's one. There's a typo. There's just a small typo on that page. I'll go fix it on the production server, and I'll fix it in the repo later, right? I didn't update the production database, or I forgot to put that in the web. That's the wrong web config. Now, what's the big one? What am I missing? The developers in the room. What am I missing? It works on my machine, right? Works on my machine. Nobody wants to admit that. Now, I have to have a mandatory word cloud, right? This is how you know it's a DevOps stock. You have to have a word cloud. I also Googled, just as Andy did. This happened to be the word cloud from a 2014 DevOps talk, or actually a conference where they took all the words from all the abstracts and threw them up there, okay? So, the things that I picked out I thought that were relevant for our group were things like delivery and change and deployment. Okay, I should say we're a Windows shop. I consider our Windows servers to be commodities. All right, the Windows infrastructure team does a great job for us. I don't care how they do it. I just want them to do it. Sometimes I want them to do it faster. Right? But we're a consumer at that point. We're strictly just consuming that. What I'm most concerned about is the software and the delivery of the software. How does that get out? The big thing in here for us was probably consistency. All right? To be consistent in how we deploy things. Now, does anybody see what the problem here is? Consistency is only a virtue if you're not a screw-up. Right? Which, to be honest, we were more of the screw-up than we were consistent. It's just that we weren't consistent in a good way. I don't know that we were winning. So what I need to do next is introduce the team. All right, this is what I want to do today, is really show you the tools. Because Andy asked at the beginning, how many of you know what DevOps is, right? I didn't raise my hand. Okay, I didn't raise my hand. I'm still not really sure that we're doing DevOps. Okay, so for the half of you that didn't raise your hand, this is for you. All right, this is the team, because what we found is there was no one tool. There is no one superhero that can handle it all. Right? We have to have a team to do this. So it's a little dark. It's the Avengers, right? It's the current day Avengers. So, who do we have on the team? The first member of the team is Mercurial. Okay? Version control. We've been doing version control for a long, long time. Back before there was a debate about Git versus Mercurial, we chose Mercurial, which it turns out is the Betamax choice, right? Right? This war has already been fought, but we're still there. So whatever you're using, use it well. We're using Mercurial. That's what we're using. This happens to be a hosted solution. We're not managing this. We're doing it through a third party called Kiln, which is Fog Creek software. How many of you ever heard of Joel Spolsky? Yay, right? Trello, Stack Overflow, all that kind of stuff. All right, that's his company. We're using Kiln there. The next character, the next member of the team, is a product called Final Builder. Final Builder does all our dirty work quietly and effectively. It causes the least trouble. Okay, it causes the least trouble for us. It pulls the latest code, it does the builds, it packages it, and places it in the correct space in the AD file space. All right. Final Builder is a third-party tool that we've been using since about 2006. All right. So we didn't just fall out of bed one day and think, hey, we should do DevOps. We don't have anything else going on. Let's just do this. All right. This was a very evolutionary process for us. We've been using version control. We've been using Final Builder for a long time. But about 2 years ago, it was like our consistency was the problem. Okay? So the next character is Jenkins. Jenkins is the good guy, right? I sort of have this loathe-tolerate relationship with Jenkins. All right? Jenkins for us, it depends on how you do it. Jenkins for us is the traffic cop. It is the tool that after any push is made to a repository, so after anybody pushes something to Mercurial, Jenkins sees that and starts the build pipeline for the dev process. Okay? It's going to use Final Builder for that. It's going to use that for the initial build, but it's also going to use a lot of PowerShell scripts. Now, the next character, this is one I want to demo if we've got some time. We call it Sisyphus. Okay? Anybody remember Sisyphus from mythology? What did Sisyphus have to do? Push a rock over and over and over, right? Okay? So Sisyphus keeps an eye on the deployment to our test and production environments. Okay? So it takes what Jenkins and Final Builder have put together, and this lets us keep a sharp eye on what's going on in test and production, because that was one of our pain points. We didn't know what was going on in test and production. It also manages the release artifacts. This is an internal application we wrote. Guess what? It's a Windows app. All right? We're not afraid to say that. Well, maybe some people are afraid that we say that, but it works. Now, the big guy in the room, the big green guy, is PowerShell. Okay? This is what makes most of the things work, because this does all the heavy lifting. It does the tearing down and the building up during any deployment process. Okay? What I should have said as part of the introduction is we have Windows servers, right? We have what I think is a lot. We've got somewhere in the mid-20s. I was sort of happy. The college got audited. We got more than that? Okay, Mike is telling me we have more than that. Our CFANs got an audit here within the last 6 months. And part of the IT audit, I was very proud. I worked real hard. We have more servers than the rest of the college. We have more Windows servers than the rest of the college. Okay? So we've got to do a lot of work with telling these servers what to do. And we're doing it through PowerShell. Okay? Now, the good-looking stuff. It's the bling. It's running on brand new, finely tuned Windows 2012 R2 servers that the infrastructure team puts together for us. Mike helps us manage all this so that we don't have to know all the gory details about what's going on these servers, but they do have to be the latest stuff, because we are taking advantage of some things dealing with deploying SSL certificates and stuff that makes it has to run on the latest good-looking servers. Any questions so far? That's the team. So now, what I want to do is a demo, which this is always dangerous, right? Because it's like, oh, is it going to work? Well, that's a good question. Now, the theory is, come on, come back. Come back. It should work because we use this every day. All right. This is a demo. What I want to show is this tool that we call Sisyphus, or our deployment tool. So where did we come up with the name for it? Well, of course, Saturday morning breakfast cartoons or breakfast comics, right? Anybody SMBC? It's off the XKCD website. So, you know, Sisyphus, you're condemned to push a stone up a hill only to see it fall down over and over. No. Okay. Each time the rock rolls back down, a meaningless counter will say you've increased one level. Then we're all right with it, okay? Because we have build counters going on, and we do get to see, okay, I am making progress there. What this tool does for us, first of all, on this tab, I should say this is a Windows app. We sometimes do remote into the server to run this. For ease here, I've remoted in via a web browser, so we are running a Windows app through a web browser, and if that doesn't give you the chills, I don't know what else to do. So these are all our various projects and products that we have through this system, through this deployment system. It's not all of our projects. We do have some that haven't made it this far yet. It takes some work to get stuff sort of up and going into the automated build process. So, for example, what we can see here, Farm Answers. That's one that is a project dealing with beginning farmers and ranchers. Okay, so beginning farmers and ranchers program. We can see here when it was deployed to test, who did it. Our graphic designer published it, and to both. Last time it went to production was on March 3rd. Let's see if I can go to the real website. So this is the test website. It should be. And if you were a beginning farmer that wanted to know about goats, you would love this, right? Because you could tweet about it, you could share it on Facebook, whatever. So here we've got all the various information. What I wanted to get to was to see, yes, look, down at the bottom, there's the version last updated, and that we are in the test environment. So this is one thing that was talking about measurement. Well, one thing that we put in here is just to see on the site, yes, this is what's actually running. The deploy tool said that's what was here, that's what we've got deployed. So back in the deployment tool, the various, this is just a dashboard to see where everything is and the servers that it's running on. So with this Farm Answers project, if I go over to the deployment, I've got deployment plans. This is where each one is different. Sometimes we go to test, sometimes we go to production. If I deploy to test, there happen to be 13 steps to do this. Okay, so for this particular project to go to test, there's 13 steps. Each one of those is basically a PowerShell script that's going to do something in the background. Other projects, for example, this one is called FinBin, which is a financial database of actual farm records from about 12 states that we collect and we house here at the university. This project takes 21 steps because it has more going on. There's an ISAPI DLL in there. There's a service. So some other, there's different steps, different things that have to be deployed depending on the project. But I'm going to live dangerously, and we're going to go back and we're going to try to deploy Farm Answers to test. So the first thing I need to do is go and select, yep, that's the build, because I could either pick the latest build, that's what I want to do, or in case of emergency, this is always good to have a backup plan. I deployed something to production, holy moly, that didn't work. I can roll back, right? So I can deploy something different. So this is the latest build, and you can see with the steps, configuring, test, maintenance, all that stuff, I'm going to say, yep, that's what I want to do. So now this is going to take, hey, it's working. Oops, I said that out loud. So this is going to go through and consistency. It's consistent. It's doing things like configuring IIS on the server. So if something happens to our test server, I really don't care. I care maybe this much, because I'm going to call, I'm going to say, hey, something wrong with the server, just give me a new one. If it's really bad, I'm just going to say, give me a new one. And Travis and Kyle are going to whip one out with their scripts real quick, and if I need something new, that's fine. Okay? Now there's a little pause here, because one thing that we do have in here is, okay, the site is officially down. So now if I go back here, oh, hey, please stand by. We're flying through, we didn't get the Star Wars, effect. This is like the TARDIS or something like that. Or maybe this was from Interstellar. I don't remember where he grabbed this from. So the site's down. The site's down, and now, okay, now we can actually deploy this. We're using a lot of other tools. We're using, for example, Microsoft Web Deploy, which Final Builder does the build and builds a package that Microsoft Web Deploy can then push out. So for the websites, we're not just copying files around. We wind up with a package that we're taking up space on AD, and we have a repository of all these different versions. So that's been deployed. One of the steps was, hey, let's do a database backup. Just in case something goes wrong, I've got a database backup. Now, this was one of the interesting things as we were developing this tool that's been around now for about 2 years. What we found is some people thought, hey, this is pretty cool. I'll deploy again. I make a little change in the code. I'll just deploy to test and production and all this, and pretty soon it's like, every time you do this, we get a 10 gig backup of a database. So maybe deploying 3 times a day isn't a cool thing, just because you can do it. It's also doing database updates. This was another big pain point for us, is having database structure changes. And so we have the ability through this to do database script changes and fire that off, so that whenever we go from dev to test to production, we know that the databases are being updated at the same time. So I'm going to hit proceed there to get off the pause. And now it's redirecting everything. The final step is to encrypt the web config. And now if we go back, let's hope that the site is back up. Come back, come back. It probably is back up because it's taken a long time. And hey, look, it actually worked. 102.800. And if I go there, it is. It's and it says, hey, and it says I deployed it at like 10:34. So a demo worked. Okay, so back to the slides. So that I'm going to be around for a while, so if there's questions. But so I just want to close with a couple things. Why not? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why not Puppet? Why not Chef? Why not a Puppet Chef? Right? Why not PowerShell DSC, desired state configuration? Yeah, we probably could have done that. What about Git? Okay, I know. Yeah, we chose poorly on maybe some things. But here I have one thing. You should not do magic you do not understand. Okay? My assumption is that everybody in this room probably already has, you have the seeds. You have the seeds of DevOps right there, because you're probably doing something already. What are your pain points? What can you start to automate? all right? And take the things that you have and build on them. That's what we did. This has been an evolutionary thing rather than just dropping in something brand new. For example, Final Builder. You know, we've been using that for 11 years, and you're going to pry that off out of my cold dead hands, all right, because I love that thing. Okay, two things. There's really two things. The second thing on my one thing is the best tool is the one you use, all right? So I'm very tool agnostic. Do whatever it is you got to do, but if it makes you successful, that's great, because if you know how to use it, you're going to stick with it. So that's all I have. Thank you very much. There's my contact information. Mike, there's yours, so people can call Mike, too, for any questions. So thank you. I'll take a question if there's time.
I'm glad your demo worked. Does anybody have any questions for Wynn?
Let's do it. That'll be the thing for tomorrow, Andy. That's now my thing for tomorrow, is new servers. Awesome.
Any more? All right, let's thank our speaker again. And now we're going to take a little break. There's still more snacks upstairs. And come back down in 15 minutes, and we'll start our first panel on the formation of the using GitHub here at the University of Minnesota.